हरिः शन्नो मित्रशं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. So good morning to one and all that are gathered for this, the first aid in medical systems, and in that the homeopathy is one part of it. So all of you are, for last few months you are listening to the various classes of homeopathy conducted with various brotherhood of our Bangalore. Now the homeopathy, as earlier we have recollected, it is a great science, and initially for few classes we taught you the philosophy of homeopathy, and also while conducting the philosophy classes we categorically, specifically told that homeopathy is the only medical science where you have a subject called the philosophy of homeopathy. The other name of philosophy of homeopathy is called an organon. So there are various rules and regulations given by the great Hahnemann, and that book is called an organon, wherein all the philosophy of homeopathy is given. That is one part of it. When you come to the second part of it, it is called a materia medica, and in a Telugu, Kannada and Sanskrit it is called Dravya Guna Deepika. Dravya means a material, Guna is the characteristic. So Dravya Guna Deepika we say. But not only these two, there is a third one in homeopathy, that is called the materia medica comparison and also repertorization. So when you do repertorization, then you will come to know the totality of symptom and you will find a simillimum. Simillimum in homeopathy means single remedy for all the problems a person exhibits it. So now what happened, there are three broad classifications of study in homeopathy. The first one is called a philosophy, the second one is a materia medica, the third is called a repertorization. So this is one part of homeopathy. In addition to that, there is one more science called the biochemic salts, which are called the Dvadasha Lavana, or the 12 tissue remedies. So that is also another science wherein there are only 12 medicines on the whole, and with the 12 medicines you can treat individuals for almost everything. So that is how the two sciences are there. One is biochemic, other is a homeopathy. Homeopathy, all of you know, the founder is Hahnemann, whereas the biochemic, the founder is a Sussler. So that's why the 12 biochemic or tissue remedies or 12 salts, there are three names they use it. The founder of it is Sussler. That's why they also say that Sussler's remedies. So that is how they say. So this is broadly we learn here. That is, one is homeopathy, the second is biochemic system. Now, when you come to the second part of it, because the first part of the philosophy we have covered exhaustively earlier, but that is not complete, and still some more are there. Another important topic if left out, which we will be covering after some time. Once we cover a few drugs, then we will come to that part of it. It is called a miasms. So there will be a broadly a 3 miasms and given by Master Hahnemann, and Master E.K. has added the fourth one to it. And on the whole, you will be learning 4 miasms. What is miasms and how a miasmatic patient will be, how to treat miasmatically, all those things you will come to know. After 1 or 2 drugs further we cover, then we will teach in exhaustive. So, philosophy is first part. In that a portion is a miasm is also a part of the philosophy. So that we will be covering after some time. Now coming to the second part of it, you have already understood the materia medica of few drugs. Our brotherhood has presented well through PowerPoints about the various drugs. To begin with, you have heard or listened the first drug called the Nexvomica. Then we have seen the Pulsatilla. So one is the male dominated drug, the other is a female dominated drug. That doesn't mean that only male has to take Nexvomica, only female has to take Pulsatilla. It is not like that. Actually, predominantly it suits more for the male-like characters. Same way, the Pulsatilla, it is more like a female-like characters, it suits. So that is how 2 important drugs you have seen. One is Nexvomica, other is a Pulsatilla. The third drug is Argentum nitricum you have seen. How the Argentum nitricum? Argentum nitricum is a silver nitrate, and how the patient will be. You have studied so many aspects of it. So in addition to that, then you went to a chamomilla. Chamomilla, the crying baby. Normally we say chamomilla, how it is useful, when it is used, all such things in detail you heard. So here broadly, normally I used to say one is male drug, the other is a female drug. The third one, chamomile, is a child drug. So that is how I used to classify for a more comprehension and understanding. Then coming to the Argentum nitricum. Argentum nitricum is hurry, everything will be hurry for you. Lot of confusion and forgetfulness, everything will be there in a Argentum nitricum. So that is how we have seen. Argentum nitricum is a silver nitrate, that we have told. So first is Nexvomica, then Pulsatilla, chamomilla, then Argentum nitricum, then one more drug is a Bryonia. So when you come to the Bryonia, you understood how the Bryonia characters are there. So easy to remember, they would have told, but still I am telling you, Bry is dry. You should remember like that. Bry is dry. So Bry is always it is a dry. Anything dry symptoms in the body, wherever you express the dryness, everything, Bryonia is used. And another thing is, Bryonia is very slow. Very slow, everything is very slow and bit lazy also. Bryonia is very lazy fellow. So we have seen how a lazy fellow will be there. In contrast, Argentum nitricum, how hyperactive, running and all, but he has got his own limitation. Bryonia has got his limit. All such things you have seen. Afterwards, you have seen one more drug called a carbo-veg. So carbo-veg is, it is a burnt coal-like thing. So carbo-veg also, there is a grand quotation with which you can remember very well. Carbo-veg is corpus reviver. Carbo-veg means corpus reviver. What is a corpus? Corpus means a dead body. So corpus reviver means even a dead body can be revived with the help of 1 dose of carbo-veg. That is how it is given in the materia medica by the grand and the great the homeopaths. So corpus reviver means even when you are about to die, almost you are about to die, such cases, suddenly there will be revival of your health completely with the 1 dose of the carbo-veg. So that's why they say carbo-veg, corpus reviver. There are certain cases, our brotherhood would have told you, in Anantapur there was one case wherein the doctor said that almost over, you inform all your relatives and tell them that he will be no more in few minutes or a few hours. That is how they declared. Then what they did, they informed all their close relatives and friends, all of them came. Then there was a very famous doctor in Anantapur. His name is Dr. Chalapati. So they called him as a last trial, let us see. So when Dr. Chalapati came and administered drug, slowly the movement started and that patient has revived. So that is the case it is in the life of Dr. Chalapati. He has done such miracles, so many things. Not one or two, hundreds of cases he has used the homeopathic medicines and revived. So that's why they say Carbo-Veg is corpus reviver. So that to that extent it is effective. Now on the whole what happened? You already learned 6 tracks. One is Naxwamika, then is Pulsatilla, then Chamomilla, then Bryonia, then the Carbo-Veg, and then Argentum Niticum. So this is how 6 tracks you have understood, I think. Now today the another important drug is called Ignatia. The name of the Ignatia, and before that there was a grand quote for you which is totally relevant to the your drug what you are going to learn today. Here the quote of the Grand Masters, it is written, a very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. So all of us, we search for happiness in the life. When you are sick, you are not happy, isn't it? So when you want happiness, what you have to do? Normally every individual, the human beings, they search for happiness outside. But most of us are not aware that the happiness is within. And happiness, if you lose it, the life, the purpose of the life is totally defeated. Then where it is available, the happiness, whether it is available in any malls, whether that is available in any shops, whether it is available with anybody. If you analyze correctly, the happiness what we talk is always is within yourself. So the happiness is your only attitude. Your happiness is the way of thinking. That is how it is told. But every one of us, normally, we search for happiness outside only. I give one or two examples, you will understand what the happiness is. So there was a newly wedded couple, both husband and wife, they planned for honeymoon. They said, where we will go to honeymoon? So earlier days and all, they used to go to Kemangundi or the Ooty or Kodaikanal normally. Nowadays people have started going to Switzerland. They go to Switzerland or Fiji Islands or New Zealand or Australia, like that they started going. So the wife and husband decided that they want to go to Switzerland and Alps mountains or some other place. So they planned and went. First they went to Mount and then they have seen the snow. Then they played skiing and all. They played with the snow. They enjoyed thoroughly. Evening they came back to hotel. Next day husband said, let us go to the mount. Then they will go to another mount. There are so many mounts in the Switzerland. They saw all the mounts. So 5 days they spent happily. On the 6th day, husband asked the wife, let us go to mount for skiing or the snow skating. Then he says, anyhow we have done 5-6 times. Let us not go there. Over. So what happened when you went, before going to the Switzerland, you thought Switzerland will give all the happiness to you. Then on the 7th day, 8th day, slowly the girl says that, let us go back to India because food is not available properly. Then what happened? Whether Switzerland has given happiness. Same way you go to Kodaikanal. First day you go to boating. Second day you go to boating. Third day you ask whether we will go to boating. Say either any spouse, whether husband or wife, they say that enough. We had 3 days in a row. Let us now to go. So before going you thought the boating gives happiness. But once you started rowing continuously, then you are tired and you are not interested. Then on the 4th day you go for horse riding. So you enjoyed horse riding. Then afterwards when you come back home, you know what will happen to your back. What will happen to your back? Severe a throbbing pain comes. Then you cannot even walk straight also. So you will be and a bending and a walking. A throbbing pain will be there because you do not know how to ride a horse. When you ride a horse, whenever it gallops, whenever the horse it comes up, you should also get up. Suppose in a reverse order you have done, when the horse is coming up, you are going down means it will be hit your back and you are facing a pain. When the pain is experienced, slowly you say that let us not go to horse race. So boating is over, horse race is over, walking is over, everything. A day will come when they say enough Kodaikanal or enough Ooty, enough Switzerland, we will go back home. Then what happened? Whether that has given happiness? So they have not given happiness. Suppose you don't have the sound system or the home theater in your house, you don't have the televisions and all. Then you prayed, you requested your husband, let us buy home theater and a TV. So with all investment, you did interiors, you bought home theater, everything and all. So immediately after lunch, you used to go sit, enjoy the movie. Then immediately after dinner, you enjoy. Like that 4 or 5 days continued. 6th day, she says, let us see home theater and enjoy. He said, we will see later. So home theater, you thought it will give all the comfort, but it is also a limitation of sometimes you don't enjoy. Nowadays, all of us know that most of the TVs in every house is kept, never it is switched on because everyone started looking at mobile or the iPads they started seeing. So priority changes. Anything you buy new, anything when you feel it is new, you feel it gives lot of happiness in the life. My dear friends, you please note that anything external outside can never give happiness to you in your life permanently. Because the happiness is within you and you start the way you think, the way and the number of thoughts it comes to you decides whether you are happy or not. For example, how to be happy? I give an example. Suppose your wife gave upma in the morning, upma in the afternoon, upma in the evening. Next day morning also she gave a upma to you. Now you have two choices. One is to be happy with the upma what you got at least. Otherwise you can grumble and shout at your wife because the upma is served again and again. Now, to be happy or not to be happy, where it is in your thought only. If you say, thank God, I have upma today at least, then you are happy. Every day I am taking the upma. The moment you say that, the unhappiness starts. So now tell me, where is your happiness? The way you think is happiness. So the secret of happiness is only your thoughts and the way you think. That's why the grand quote given is this one. Now the drug what we are going to cover is, they are not happy. That's all. The drug is not happy because of their mind only. So how their mind works, what is everything, we will see. In a Himalayan range, there is an animal called a Kasturi Mruga. It is called a Kasturi Mruga. The Kasturi Mruga, it emits a beautiful smell. Excellent smell will come. So what this Kasturi Mruga does is, in search of the good smell, where it is coming, it starts moving in the Himalayan range. So morning onwards it goes on and on and on. It climbs the hillocks, then it jumps from one rock to other, and it goes on, searches. But its purpose is searching for happiness. That happiness is the smell. A beautiful smell it is coming, and it started searching where from it is coming. So ultimately it starts searching and all, and it gets tired and it falls, and ultimately it leaves the life. Most of the Kasturi Mrugas, they die in that fashion, in search of the smell, good smell. But one secret that the Kasturi Mruga do not know, that smell comes from in itself. That itself will emit the smell, but though the smell is inside, it searches outside for the happiness. Same is the case with all of us, please note. What all of us we do, we only in search of happiness, we go round and round and round. Throughout the life we spend, and ultimately one fine day we will also die. That is what is happening. So don't search for happiness outside. The happiness is within yourself, and the attitude with which you think, it decides whether you are happy or not. So that's why another quote is there. What it says is, you can make hell of a heaven, heaven of a hell, both are in your hands, they say. You can make hell out of a heaven, or heaven out of a hell, both are in your hands. Why they said that quote, both are in your hand, means the way you think, it is so. So what do you think? It will be like that only. So in that fashion, we have to search for the happiness. Searching for happiness is within ourselves, and the way you get a thought, the way you think decides whether you are happy or not. It is only an attitude, my dear friends, please note. Now we will come to the word, the drug called an Ignatia amara. The full name of the drug is Ignatia amara, but it is normally called as an Ignatia. Whenever we read the Materia Medica, we should be aware that what is Materia Medica and why we are reading a particular drug, what it is indicated, we should have the complete knowledge. Again and again these principles are repeated in the homeopathy only to ensure that you have the perfect understanding of this. The first word we have written, the common name is Saint Ignatius Bean. That is how it is written. So why we have used the common name? Common name of Ignatia Amira is Saint Ignatius Bean. That is the one, this name for a common name of Ignatia. Now, for every drug, there will be one common name and also a scientific name. This you should understand that. Scientifically, botanically, they give some name, some family they say. But however, common name, what it is called? It is called a Saint Ignatius Bean. Here, the first and the foremost thing what we have to understand is the origin of the drug. The drug is prepared with what? That you should be aware of it. Every drug, every drug in a Materia Medica, when you read, first know the origin of this particular medicine. So what are the origins? All of us know very well that, so there is a, from the mineral kingdom drugs are prepared. Yes. Then the plant kingdoms drugs are prepared. Then human kingdom, healthy tissues it is prepared. Diseased tissues also it is prepared. One is called a sarcode, other is called the nosode. So what happened now? One is mineral, other is plant, third is animal, and the fourth one is human beings. In the two categories, one is nosode, other is a sarcode. Nosode is a disease origin, and the sarcode is a healthy origin of the tissues. So whether are we happy with that? It's somewhere or other in homeopathy. After that, there is some drugs called an imponderabilia. The other word is called imponderabilia. What is an imponderabilia? The things which you cannot see with your naked eyes, but it exists. For example, magnetism. So magnetism, how you can see? When you take a magnet to the iron only, you feel the iron fillings are coming and you say it is due to the magnetism. So, and then you see the light here, you see the transmission, everything. The cause of it, you say the electricity. We can't see electricity, but effect of electricity can be experienced, every one of us. So that's why the medicines in homeopathy are prepared from the electricity also. So, and there is another thing called an X-ray. Suppose if you have a bone fracture or anything, you go to a doctor, they pass an X-ray through you and take a film and they say a particular bone is fractured, that is how say. So there what is happening with the use of an X-ray. So in homeopathy, with X-ray also there is a drug. So that's why electricity, magnetism, X-ray, there are so many things which you cannot see but exist, which you can perceive. With that also the medicines are prepared. So origin of the medicines is, one is plant kingdom, one is mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, human kingdom, and in that the imponderabilia and this X-ray, electricity, all such things are there. Now first and foremost thing, whenever you read a Materia Medica, you should know what is the origin of the drug. Here, what is the origin of the drug? The origin is the plant kingdom. So whenever you see what is a, suppose Naxwamika, what is an origin? A plant kingdom. Chamomilla, it is the origin is a plant kingdom. Then Pulsatilla, that is also origin is a plant kingdom. And like that everything we should be aware which is the origin. First is the Saint Ignatius Bean is a plant kingdom. So Ignatia is a plant kingdom origin. Second thing, family name they have written. What is the family name? So Laganesia is the family name. It is a technical or a botanical name that you need not do by heart or no, but you should be aware of it. There will be one family name. Then, in homeopathy, the every drug we have told very clearly that it is proved on a healthy human beings. Earlier classes we have told very clearly that an allopathic drug, when it is found out, it is tested on the guinea pigs, rats, rabbits, and the monkeys, isn't it? That is how we have understood. Every allopathic drug is, when it is found out, when it is manufactured, the trials are done on the guinea pigs, rats, rabbits, and the monkeys. On that only they do it. So when the rats, monkey, and they all certify that yes, it is good, they administer to the human beings. But however, the difference between the allopathy and homeopathy is, in homeopathy, the drug is proved only on the healthy human beings. We told in detail that Hahnemann and other the great homeopaths, they used to collect a 40-50 similar group of persons, healthy persons, and the drug is administered on them, and whatever they feel, whatever they recorded, that is all taken, and all general things, and where everyone experienced the particular symptom, all are taken and then published it. So that's why for every drug there is some prover who did it. This particular drug, Ignatia Mera, is done by the great Hahnemann himself. So Hahnemann has taken this drug when it is prepared, then he only proved on himself, and everything is jotted down what he felt, and it is a given. Then major, every drug will act on a particular system, on a particular system of our body. So that is how they say that nervous temperament, everything in Ignatia is related to the nervous system and your attitude and mind thing. Then another important one, this is the scientific way of presentation. What it is present is scientific way of presentation of a drug. Next is relation with the heat and the cold. This is another important thing in homeopathy. Every drug will have some effect when it is exposed to the heat and also to the cold. When you are exposed to the heat, some symptoms. When you are exposed to the cold, some other symptom. So some symptoms specifically it is there. But however here in this Ignatia Amelia, nothing specific is there. It is not related to anyone. No specifically we cannot tell this is one thing. Then another point, what is explained is miasms. Every drug of homeopathy, you should know what is the origin of this miasm. It is called a Prakopa Sthiti, we say. So miasms, broadly there are three things. Because this particular chapter is not covered to you, you be familiar with the terminology only. So the in-depth knowledge of this will be given in the coming classes. So whenever you say miasm, there will be three major miasms: Sora, syphilis, and psychosis. Sora, syphilis, and psychosis. It is not posora, it is Sora. So Sora, syphilis, and psychosis. Never link Sora with the psoric diseases. Psoriasis, there is a disease. Don't think that psoriasis disease is a Sora. Same thing, Sora, the next is syphilis. So syphilis is there are so many diseases related to the sexual disorders and all. Don't compare that with the syphilis or gonorrhea, all such things. Syphilitic is a different thing. Sora, syphilis and syphilinum, there is one thing. So when syphilinum is also one thing. These are the three things. So when these three are given by Hahnemann himself in a exhaustive and detailed manner he has given. But however, Master E.K. told that there is fourth miasm also called the tubercular miasm, he said. So what is a miasm means? The whole of the community, the whole of the human beings are classified into A, B, C, D classifications. Sora, syphilis, and psychotic. So whether an individual is belonging to Sora or individual belonging to the syphilinum or in the psychotic character. So Sora, syphilis is psychotic, and then the tubercular miasm. What Master Ekirala Krishnamacharya said that the whole of the humanity can be classified into these groups, and each one belong to particular group of Sora. So that is how the Sora, syphilis, and the psychotic, and then tubercular miasms. So every drug what is you learn in the homeopathic system, it belongs to one Sora, one miasm. So what is the miasm now? Ignitia, what is the miasm? Ignitia miasm is the Sora. So every person who comes under the Ignitia, they are all the Sora people. So their nature will be Soric, we say. Soric nature will be there, and Sora will have different characteristics, and Ignitia patient will also so many characters. That's why the miasm of this Ignitia is the Sora. Now, the Materia Medica, whatever is given in details, all of you should be well aware and recollect again and again that allopathy has got a set of symptoms. If you see the Materia Medica of an allopathy or the book of medicine, they say, when you go through the book of the medicine, it will have a lot of symptoms there. But homeopathic symptoms are totally different from what is mentioned in the book of medicine. How and why it differs, again I am telling you. Earlier I told once, but again I tell you because it is very important to understand. Allopathic system will give certain physical features. For example, temperature of 98.4 degrees, there will be a loose motion, there will be vomiting, all such things. In such a case, you give this medicine, like that they say. So all the symptoms exhibited by a person is also recorded in allopathy, but they are all related to the physical symptoms. Suppose fever, when you say fever, normally there will be temperature. So they say temperature will be there, temperature will be above 98.4, like that they write. So they are all called the symptoms which are physical nature. But homeopathic Materia Medica is where allopathy stops, homeopathy begins. Where allopathy stops, homeopathy begins. That you should know it. For example, they say a fever will be there, above 98.4 in allopathy. They say 98.4 above is there, so he already 102, he is having a fever, we will give one medicine. So they say because the body is heat and he is having a fever, we give the paracetamol or some antibiotic that administer. That is how the symptom. But however, when you come to the homeopath, the same symptom, what you say fever, he will not end with the, when fever there will be heat. Because heat is there, they say fever. What is so speciality about it? But what is speciality? How I can classify a particular individual into the which nature of miasm? What you have to ask, the homeopathy starts asking differently than the allopaths. How they ask? They ask when the fever started, then how the fever will increase, whether fever is more in the morning or in the evening. During fever, what do you feel like? They ask. In the fever, when you have a fever, whether you are sleeping in a dark room or whether you are sleeping in a room opening with all windows. And also they ask whether you get a perspiration. So in the fever, whether you are getting a perspiration. If the sweat is coming, homeopath will ask where the sweat will come. You will be surprised. They will ask whether the sweat is around the neck or in the corners of the hair or whole of the body you are sweating. So he will not end with that. He will further ask what is the smell of the sweat. Smell of the sweat you will ask how the sweat is smelling. Whether it is smelling like a cadaverous smell or whether it is sweating like a rotten egg smell or whether it is sweating like a very pungent dirty smell. Everything they will ask. Now, these are the things an allopath will never ask. Then we go to the type of food, cravings. During fever, what food is craving? and during fever we will ask the thirst aspect. So thirst is more, that is enough for the allopath. More thirst, okay, that's all the end. But homeopath will not end with that. He will ask, when you have a thirst, how you take a water. Whether he will keep a bottle of water next to him, entire bottle he will take in one gulp, or he will take only little by little. Whether he will take little by little, umpteen number of times in a day, he will ask that. Suppose if the patient takes whole bottle and take gada, if he completes one bottle at one time, the drug is different. The same patient, if he takes a water and a sip by sip, he will take 1 spoon, 2 spoons, or he will take one sip and keep the bottle down. Again 10 minutes he will take another sip and keep it down. Now you analyze and you start observing this difference. One is taking the entire water in one gulp, the other one is taking the same quantity of water but a spread over in a different occasions and 2 spoons each other. Now in homeopathy, a person who takes the entire gulp, it is a Bryonia we say. A person who takes a sip by sip during fever, we say arsenicum album we say. What happened here? Because of the attitude and the character of a person who is having a fever, the symptoms he has exhibited, only such things are recorded in the drugs. So this aspect you should be clear. Now, what is materia medica? What is the drug you are seeing? What is the drug we are understanding is, the drug picture here is nothing but the expressions of a person who has taken the substance in the form of a medicine. Then what all the symptoms has exhibited, those things are recorded here. So the proving what is done by Hahnemann along with the 40%, suppose 40% have got a same symptom. Such things only is recorded in the materia medica. Not all the things are recorded. For example, 40% said we have suddenly we changed our moods. I am telling about ignitia only. Suppose 40% says our moods are changed suddenly after taking the medicine. 40. The other one says no change in my mood. 2-3% says absolutely no change, I don't felt anything. But when you see the majority, out of 40, when 38% are telling moods are changed, then definitely that is recorded in materia medica. So please understand broadly that in materia medica every word mentioned is, it is the words uttered or told or written by a healthy human being when he has taken a particular medicine on himself to prove the drug. That is very, very important. So that's why the materia medica of a homeopathy is nothing but an expression of a healthy human being when he has taken the medicines. That is the broad understanding, every one of you should have it. Otherwise, when you read the materia medica, you will be surprised what is this, it is given in this fashion. So that is another thing. Now, in homeopathy, the major and important thing and the prime thing on which the medicine is prescribed is only your mind. Because we say man is known by his mind, isn't it? Man is known by his mind and mind is known by his thoughts. Thoughts are known by his previous life. That also you should know. Vasanas. Every person gets a thought, the type of thought, the level of thought, the number of thought, the quality of thoughts. Everything it depends upon your past life. So man is known by his mind. So you are giving a medicine to a particular person. Here we don't give medicine to the diseases. In homeopathy there are no diseases and we are treating only the person. Because we are treating a person is known by his mind. So what is the mind of ignitia? Now you study more of mind of an ignitia, the behavior of an ignitia. Common symptoms you don't take into consideration at all, and also while taking the symptoms there is another important terminology called the PQRS. So every homeopath should know these 4 words. PQRS. P is a peculiar. So peculiar symptom only is written here. And then the second Q is a qualitative symptoms are recorded. R is a rare symptoms are recorded. then S is a specific symptoms are recorded. So these are the 4 things it is recorded in the Materia Medica. So to recollect, Materia Medica is nothing but an expression of an individual. Materia Medica is nothing but an expression of an individual on whom the medicine is administered. And Materia Medica are the whole symptoms it is recorded what an individual healthy human being felt after taking the medicine. That is the thing. So now whatever you see in the Ignatia is everything is related to the happening to a group of persons when the Ignatia Ameria, Saint Ignatius, the seed when it is given to them in a medicinal form, they all gave these symptoms. Now, the name of a Ignatia, easy to remember all of you, it is called a Laila Majnu drug. Ignatia is Laila Majnu drug. So now you can understand what is Laila Majnu. What happened to Laila Majnu? You know, sad ending, isn't it? So sad ending. So and also the Bhagna Premika, that is also a failure of affairs in the love. All such things are broad symptoms. Now take a case or example of a person known to you. Any person where the failure in the love affair. You start understanding how that particular fellow behaves. All such behavior you will see in the Ignatia. That is one thing. So, normally a person who loved somebody and that is totally, it is cancelled or spoiled by somebody or the death of someone, everything. Suddenly you see the change of the moods for them. So one is as I said, Laila Majnu, that is Bhagna Premika. Second thing is loss of dear and near one. Whenever there is a loss of a near and a dear one, then also this drug Ignatia is given to them. Sometimes the drug is also given to those when there is a depression for you. An individual when they have a depression, at that time also this drug is administered. A person who loses his near and dear one, you can go and see when the dead body is there, you just look at the lady, she will be sobbing. Suddenly she will keep quiet. Then someone will come, oh sorry, what happened? Immediately again she will start doing that. So continuously they cry in that a fashion and the moods will go on change. One side fear will be there, other side worry will be there, one more side depression will be there. So many moods will come to them on a particular day. So that's why this mind of an Ignatia is always the moods will be, you cannot say how they will be. Suppose a failure affair, then when you talk to the girl, they will be keeping quiet, looking at the what you call a void or an empty space. They will be just sitting and looking something like that. Suppose someone says, mother or father says, come on, we will have the food. Suddenly she will start shouting at it. She will start shouting at it. Then they have to make her calm, then take her to the food. Or she may be sleeping, suddenly she will get up, start crying loudly. Like that, the moods, the emotions will so frequently it changes because the cause of the changing of the mood is failure. Some failures in the life or loss of a dear and a near one when it is there. When there is a failure, even an examination failure or loss of a husband or loss of wife, any loss of spouses or loss of a children or the children running away from the house, not taking care of parents or someone ditching them. Anything, causes are many. So for all such things, normally Ignatia patient will have these symptoms called the changeable moods. Constantly they go on change the mood. So they cry, they laugh, sometimes hysterically they laugh. In Kannada, there is a film called Prema Panjara. What is it? Some Sharapanjara. You see a movie called Sharapanjara in Kannada. So she will be running and shouting, and sote, nagedde, like that she will be shouting along the beaches and all, suddenly crying, suddenly laughing, suddenly shouting, all such things. They are all changeable moods. Because changeable moods happen when you lose somebody who are very dear and near to you. So that is how one of the major symptoms of the Ignitia is Laila Majnu drug, you please remember. And also the depressions, and also when you lose the near and dear one, this is going to happen. There are many cases which we have treated in the last 3-4 decades. One case I will tell you. Actually, there was a lady in Mysore when I was giving a homeopathic medicine there. That lady came with a small injury to the hand. While explaining that, she started crying. So all of you, by this time you know that when a patient is giving the symptoms, at that time if they cry, it is a pulsatilla case, isn't it? Immediately you say when the patient while giving the symptoms, and if you ask, then they will start crying. Asking, the other term is called consoling. Especially with pulsatilla case, when you console, they aggravate. All the problems will aggravate. That's why they start crying it. So the moment you say they are crying, we may think, yes, she is the pulsatilla patient. But it is not the case. That lady started experiencing, suddenly she wiped her tears and then started laughing it. That is all there in the life, sir. What is there, like that, she said. Then she was talking. Within no time again she started shouting. Then she told that fellow should be buried, that fellow should be burnt. Like that she started telling. Different types of modes. Then slowly I made her to console. Then slowly asked, what type your husband is doing, I said. Then she revealed that her husband is working in a bar. He is an attendant in the bar, or he may be a watchman in the bar. So every day night they give free some liquor, or he takes it, we don't know. He started drinking it. So he became a drunkard by habit. Then after coming home, every day she used to beat his lady. So the wife underwent so much of problem. In the meantime, she had 2-3 kids. Taking care of the kids is a problem. He was not giving money to her properly. And every day coming and beating her in the night. All such things made her to become a depressed patient. That is the reason. But the reason for which she came is only an injury in the hand. Suppose if you treat like an allopathy, taking that to give some ointment and all, actually you have not treated her. Because she is depressed and she has so many moods are changing. She is a depressed patient. So looking at all the symptoms, and then we administer the Ignitia to her. Actually after some time she became a very calm and a composed, and she also started working and started taking care of the family. She used to come and tell, sir, after that particular medicine I started thinking and analyzing, what is the purpose of crying in this fashion? I will support my kids. Having given birth to 3 kids, I will also work and then I will support it. So that is how that Ignitia, one dose has wonderfully it worked. Another dimension of Ignitia, I tell you, will be shocked. A lady came, then started telling that I have no modes, I have lost everything in my life, and somehow I feel that I want to leave this body and then go, I want to jump in. Like that she started explaining so many things. Then I asked her what happened, why this is thing. It all happened with a death in my house on a particular day, like that she started. I said, who was that? Who was that? Who died? I asked. Then she said, it is my dog. It is my dog. It was my pet dog, which I used to love so much. The dog has died. From that day onwards, I became like that. So we treated her with this same drug called Ignitia. Please note. Because loss of near and dear one means don't think it is only human being. Even when they are oversensitive and attached to the animals, then it happens. Recently in Bangalore, 2-3 years back, a case came, and she is from Hyderabad. That lady came, whole her problem of the life, she became totally depressed because of again the loss of the dog only. So people who are over attached and oversensitive to such issues, then definitely they are going to the depression mode. For such cases, Ignitia is a very important drug. previous slide. You go to previous slide. Okay. So the changing of the modes is the first important thing. Then introspective. What is introspective? That means the ignitia patient will always think and goes inside and then go on thinking about it. And unnecessarily also they will think too many. Introspective means going inside and asking yourself. They do certain aspect, then they go inside and they are on question, and then no answer will come to them. They become depressed with that. So that is another important symptom they will have. Then the silently brooding broods over unpleasant occurrences. This is the cause of depression. This is the cause of sorrow. This is the cause of their sickness. Please note. Here they will be sitting quiet. Ignitia patient in a corner, they will be sitting quiet and they will be crying. Always tears will come from their ears. And also their job and the quality of thoughts, the direction of the thoughts is they only think about the occurrence of certain event which is unpleasant to them. Please note. Unpleasant to them. That's why I said, suppose a girl and a boy loved so much, their parents and his parents did not agree, so there was a separation. Then this lady will be thinking only about that incident. That boy also only thinks about this. Actually, every drug is a male and a female, predominant drugs will be there. That's why we say it is a male drug and a female drug. When we say male drug and female drug, don't think that it is only to be female, it is to be administered. Ignitia is also more predominantly female drug, please note. It is a female drug. So when the girl is brooding over, she only thinks about the happening of that, how it was failed. So the love affair is failed. The love affair, it is broken because of some factors. But they recollect and think only on that occurrence of unpleasantness. Suppose an unpleasant event has happened to a girl, then she goes on, thinks about it. Out of fear also they start thinking about it. Suppose a girl while walking alone in a street, some boy comes and touches her. She shouted. From that time onward, she will have a fear in her mind. So she goes on, thinks about the incident, and out of fear what happened, she becomes an ignitia patient. So that's why the thinking and brooding is only on the unpleasant events. They will not come out of it. Suppose a lady lost her husband. She will be always thinking and crying about the husband. So when we were there like that, and she recollects all the events happened and all. And always it comes in front of her, the dead body, and he has left it, I am left alone, I am left in lurch. Like that she started thinking. So that is the another symptom you find in an ignitia. They brood over and always unpleasant occurrences are there. That's why while taking a case, you should ask clearly the cause. In homeopathy, it is a cause and an effect. What is the cause of this particular? How originally it started? That is very, very important. I give another case. A lady, elderly lady came in Ballari and she started telling all those problems. She started telling, I don't feel like eating, I get a headache, all such things I said. Then we all asked, probed the case. Then we started jotting down everything. Finally we came to know one thing, that she is the second wife. She is the second wife. And the husband started after marriage. During marriage, he loved her so much. He married, and once this particular lady got a female baby, he started rejecting her. He married the second marriage only to have a male wife. But unfortunately, this lady has got a female. Then virtually, that man was using her as a servant maid in her house to serve her first wife and the other children. Later they got 2-3 children. So this second lady and the daughter were used only as a servant maid in the house, and an absolute and perfect discrimination was there in the house. Because of that, because of looking at the daughter and her position, she was always crying, sobbing, with which so many problems came for us, health disorders. So when she started giving a big list of health disorders, and we started asking one by one, slowly she started telling that I am the second wife and I have a female baby. And after when I delivered a female baby, first I had a female, second daughter is female, then he married second one. It is near a village near Ballari it happened. So that lady came for the treatment with us. Ramakrishna Shastri was there. When we took the case, we were all shocked that because of the ill treatment meted out by the husband to the wife and also the daughter, and a continuous and a procrastinated way, it continued for years. Because of that, she became sick, psychic. So many symptoms she was giving. But initially, we thought she may be psychic case and all. But when we went for the cause of that, the cause is a depression it started in her. I will live only till my daughter gets married. Once my daughter gets married, I want to commit suicide and die. That is how she is told. So then because of the cause we know very clearly, we gave an ignition. So many symptoms what we used to tell, over a period of time it has gone. A level of confidence in her increased and she started meeting a very catastrophic condition happily. So that is how there is a transformation and change in her, because all those symptoms are related to the mind and the thoughts and an attitude. So that is another thing. So always they recollect and they remember only the unpleasant occurrences, and always they will be brooding over it. Again and again, like Rama Nama Japa, they do only that. So that's why for such cases, you have to take case very clearly, then you will come to know that it is an ignitia case. Then melancholic. These patients are melancholic. So they want to be alone. They want to sit alone, they don't want to talk others and all. So always they sit in a room and then cry. In spite of telling so many things, so many times, they just sit in the room and cry. And also, whatever the problems that happened in their life, everything they recollect and then they cry inside, and a different types of moods. Suppose if you see a ignitia patient in a room through a window secretly, suddenly they will be smiling and suddenly they will be crying. Suddenly they become very calm and all. What is there, like that they say. Immediately they start sobbing, continuous sobbing. It is a melancholic attitude is expressed by these people. Always they sit inside. That's why they sad, sits and sobs. That is another symptom it is mentioned. They always sit in a room or they want to be alone. Every patient. I have seen many cases of this nature, especially the young girls, when they love affair with somebody and when the elders do not agree, then they sit in a room always. Do you know what they do? They only think about an unpleasant event. My parents did not agree. Somehow I have to marry. Or other thing is, so this affair is failed. What happens in my life, like that. That's why they always try to be alone. That's why they sit and sob is another important thing in an ignitia. They will be sitting and sobbing, always crying. In between what happened, sighing will be there. Sighing means like that telling. So immediately they have a sigh and then again they start cropping it. So this is a symptom which is always there. Next is tearful. Ignitia, you will find always tears ready. It will be there like a Ganga Jamuna I used to say. Ganga and Jamuna, like perennial rivers, their eyes will also always have a tears in that. Anyone looking at them, immediately they cry, thinking that we may ask about them, how are you? Or what happened, like that. So immediately they go. So that's why it's a tearful. One more thing is ignitia patient. When someone, the near one, dear one, or they bring it to you, they are not open. They don't talk to you. They don't talk to you in the beginning. They just sit quiet. They want to be only quiet and they don't want to answer also. So that's why the symptom is mentioned in non-communicative. A person who is very normal, a person who is talkative, everything, but suddenly when he becomes a patient of an ignitia, he starts stopping the entire conversations. He will not talk with anybody. even an ignitia patient to get a symptoms, it is very difficult. Because whatever the happenings, they're all very a grief situation, shock situation, disappointment, failures, all such things will be there for them. So that's why they don't want to share with you. So with great difficulty they will tell one by one when you ask. So that's why the comfort is to be created when you take a case of homeopathy. That's why I say you should have a lot of patience. While taking homeopathy case, you should have a lot of patience. Not only that, the patient should have a confidence in you. Unless and until they have a confidence in you, faith in you, they are not going to tell the true things. Kent, J.T. Kent writes in one of these Materia Medica one sentence that you tell everything to the patient, you console her, you counsel her, everything you do, but when you move out, she may not take anything from you. That's why when an ignitia patient you are treating, you just give the medicine, take your briefcase and walk out. That is how he writes. A beautiful. I request all those who are listening these classes, please read Kent's Materia Medica. It is like a story, it goes, how beautifully it is written. Kent's Materia Medica is an authority if you want to know the homeopathy properly. So Kent says that whenever you are treating a patient of an ignitia, you just treat, then take your briefcase and walk out, he says. That means that don't expect miracles will happen immediately, and they don't accept you so easily. So that's why you treat, and then you know that she is he is a patient of ignitia. So they give the drug and then walk out. That is how he says. So this is and all the cause of it. In homeopathy, one is cause. You should always try to find a cause. Cause is very important for treating a patient. What is the cause? Suppose you have a fever in the night. First patient comes with a fever. You ask him what happened. Yesterday we went out. So that's why I have a fever. Exposure outside, traveled and all. So that's why I got a fever. So give him an Exformica, 1 dose. So second case comes. They also say fever is there. You ask why the fever is there. Cause you find out. The cause is they have eaten ice cream. They have eaten ice cream. So that old and stale ice cream itself is stale. So it is a more stale and a totally a dead food. So a stinking and a dead food you have taken. That's why you have got a fever symptom. Now you can't give Naxvamica. The cause is ice cream. So you give Pulsatilla. Then other fellow comes. So I am having a fever. Why? They say that a lot of exposure and a poisonous gases and all, and it is a polluted weather exposed. That's why I got a fever. So when it is a poisonous gas exposure and all, fever is common, but for him the drug is arsenic amalgam. So like that it goes on, changes with the cause. So cause is essential here. Now for an ignitia patient, a person becomes an ignitia patient, the causes are broadly 3 things. One is shocks. You may have so many shocks. Suppose tomorrow morning you are expecting a offer letter from an employer. They talk to you, they conducted interview, they talked to your package, everything, and they said that tomorrow morning you will get a offer. Tomorrow it did not come. You went and asked. They said you are not selected, somebody else will be given. It is a great shock to you. Then during accident some shocks will come. Suppose during accident suddenly you see in front of you your kith and kin is dying. It happened in that Annapurna temple, Horanadu Annapurna temple. So some long back, and 10-15 years back, we went to the temple. While going to the temple, we saw a big van. It has fallen into the ditch. At that time there was no road. So there what happened? All of them have died. Only one survival is there. That lady survival, she was sitting on the banks, that is a river bank, she was sitting and crying and sobbing because in front of her eyes, the husband and a small baby all have died. So definitely such persons will become, it is a great shock to her. In front of her they have died. I give another shock of our own brotherhood. Names I will not tell. They were all went to receive a award. A best teacher award was given to him. So he went to a particular place and he took the award. They were all coming in the night. So while coming in the night, just it slipped. The van fell into the water, a canal like water. Then all were struggling to survive and come out. Elders, somehow they survived. They saw their grandson drowning in front of their eyes. So that lady was in shock for so many days because she requested her daughter to send the grandson and to their place, and they brought him and they were nurturing and they were giving good education. But in front of her, in front of the grandmother and grandfather, the boy drowned. But they could not save because they were in a position to save themselves. In the meantime, the child has drowned and died. That is a shock. Such a shocks when it happens in life, they always recollect it. They always recollect that, and it pinches them, it pricks their heart. So that's why they start crying it. I only did everything, I am responsible for it. That is how they express it. That is a shock. There are many shocks of that nature. So anything after shock, if the patient has got symptoms, ignition to be given. That is what I am telling. Next is a grief. Grief situation, many are there. Anything loss and when suppose if the property is burnt, in a village if the property is burnt in front of you, all have burnt in the house and the hut is gutted. Such case also the grief will come. Loss of dear and any of the spouse, any of the children, when they die in front of you, lot of a grief will come. And sometimes utter disappointments. The utter disappointments are this love failures, or the monetary losses, or you dreamt something but nothing has come to you, everything is gone. In such a case also you get a fantastic and a very big range of disappointment will come. So disappointment, grief, aftershock, everything, you have the symptoms which all relate to the ignitia. Next slide. So the oversensitive, it is a very common thing. Oversensitive means normally when you undergo all these things, you become very sensitive. It is a very common symptom with an ignitia because you go and ask something, how are you? Immediately they start thinking, the moods will change and why you have come to ask. So for all of you it is a tamasha. All of you have come to tease me. All of you are coming to giggle at me. Like that they start talking. Anything and everything they are very sensitive. It is very difficult to talk to them. Very difficult to talk. The moment you go there, something, it comes out. So that's why they say oversensitive and impulsive also. That is immediately, you cannot touch them. That's why they say after the symptoms, when you take a decided drug, just administer and walk out. That is how Kent says. Don't see because it ignites them and they become the totally impulsive. And the reaction is very quick. Very quick reaction. You cannot even test them properly. Suppose you say that, how are you? A small baby, a lady is there. You go and just touch them. Suddenly they will throw your hand out and they may push you out also. Such an impulsive reactions will be there in ignitia, a patient. Then alternative modes. This, you know that. Alternative modes means moods will change. Now they are laughing. Loudly they are laughing. You feel that they are laughing, so you also want to crack a joke. Suddenly she starts shouting at you. So immediately without why at all, we should be there. Suppose you think that they are crying, you went and console them. They say that, what is there? I am not crying. Like that she says. Then she starts laughing at all. So crying or sobbing and then laughing or even laughing loudly, everything one by one there will be a change in that. That's why it is called a alternative mood. In the bracket we have written one word called a lycopodium. There is another drug. Lycopodium is also a drug which has got its symptom prominently. But ignitia patient and lycopodium patients, physically they are different. Ignitia patient will be normally It is not that neither lean nor a stout lady. There is no specific indication as far as the physical structure is concerned in Ignitia. But however, in Lycopodium, structure is very important. Lycopodium patient is a triangular patient, we say. You know triangle, inverted triangle. In the above there is a broad, and then coming to the end it's a tip. Like that, their shoulders and upper body will be very large, very broad. When it comes to the tip, it will be very small and tapered. So that such personality you will see. So that is Lycopodium drug. So here also there will be alternative modes. What is the cause of alternative modes? Is first three things you have seen. Jealousy, the destructive modes or depressions, or the loss of dear and near one, all such things. In addition to that, one quality will be there, that is a jealousy. Jealousy will be there in the Ignitia patient. Why jealousy happens? Start analyzing it. Why jealousy comes to an Ignitia patient is because when they have got the shocks happening of a certain events, the same event in a positive way happened to somebody, in a negative way it happened to her. That's why they have a jealousy. Suppose there are three sisters, first one got married by loving the someone on whom she is interested, so her love was successful, whereas the second is unsuccessful. She is jealous about the first sister and she has its alternative modes. I give an example of the jealousy. There were two sisters in Andhra Pradesh. First sister marriage took place in summer. So when they arranged the marriage, the entire marriage they bought jasmine flowers. Beautiful smell, white, pure and all. So many jasmine flowers, including their nuptial room, it is arranged jasmine flower. The second daughter got married in an odd season where no jasmine was available. So they brought some other flowers. For that, the second girl started crying and she became a patient after some time. You will be surprised. She became a patient. The cause is jealous because first sister got jasmine flower in her marriage. In my marriage, nothing is given. That is how she started thinking. Cause is that. Then she started comparing with everything with her sister and how father and mother discriminated them. In this fashion, it went on and on and on. Over a period of 4-5 years, she became a sick patient. When they probed it, how it started, finally they came to know that the cause is jasmine flower. Simple thing you see. So recently in one of the lecture, one very grand master was telling, a family was separated. They went for a divorce because of one curry. In their husband, every day they used to prepare dondakaya curry. So mother used to ask the daughter, what curry today? Dondakaya. Tomorrow, what curry? Dondakaya. Third day, what curry? Dondakaya. She started telling what is that, why they are not buying any vegetable like that, whether they have money or not. If they don't have money, I will send like that. This mother talk. That overheard by mother-in-law. Mother-in-law started as we are rich enough and all, they are beggars. If they want, I will give money like that. So quarreling started. The daughter took side of mother. Husband became wild and mother-in-law and son, they became one group. And these two quarrel was there. Finally they went to lawyer, notice was given, and then they filed a divorce case. Divorce case is going on. What is the cause? Simple thing. Jealousness. One curry has caused like that. Like that, there are some small and silly reasons also make the cause of the jealous nature. With the jealous, you become a sick patient. Then these people love much, but not wisely, and project their idealism more or less into the strange concepts of life and relationship. Here, they talk something nonsense related to a particular issue, suppose love affair. They talk something, have some principle, like that they talk, but nothing, they are not wise enough. Only in speaking it will be there, but in life relationship they don't maintain. That's why they are morally disappointed persons, highly disappointed. And a fear of losing what they like the most. So they will have the fear. Why means, if they lose one thing or the other in their life, they go on think that everything, whatever I like, it may be lost. Sometimes, they say, I like that. Immediately they say, no, I should not like. Whatever I like, whatever they are all died, they all lost, like that, she says. It is all due to fear. So that fear is constant in their mind, always like that. So this is the one symptom, and the next is an insecurity. They don't have, yes, they feel they don't have any security. They are always feeling insecure because of the continuous, constant disappointments in the life, rejections in the life, and the shocks in their life. So all those things they have a fear, and anything and everything they will have a fear. And some more symptoms are there. In the coming class we will continue, because Ignitia is a very big drug. It is one of the important personality drug. So in the coming class we will conclude this. Thank you. Any questions are there on the Ignitia, kindly send it in online, and the coming class we will answer these things. Thank you. Swasti. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो। ओम शांति शांति शांति।